Applico is celebrating its silver anniversary, but the company's roots go back a lot further, to a post-war business pioneered by former appliance sales manager Arthur Harvey. Arthur had a vision that was to transform household chores forever. At the end of World War II, he developed the country's first dishwasher and established the brand Dishmaster. Thanks to Arthur's early innovative marketing techniques, Dishmaster became a household name in New Zealand, and it was joined in the late 50s by the Wastemaster waste disposal unit.
3 times a day, over 1,000 times a year, to film starlet Valerie Carlton, as to every other girl in Britain, washing up meant drudgery until today. But now into Valerie's life has come something different. It's a washing up unit designed in New Zealand, which does your chores at the touch of a switch. Now that other messy job, scrapings. They're the last things to empty to an ordinary sink, but this sink takes all the kitchen waste you care to ram down. It's fitted with a sort of electric grinder-upper, but engineers call it a dispenser. In goes the stopper and out goes the waste. Every particle shredded so fine that there'll be little more than a powdery deposit in the basin full of wastewater he's drawing off. See what I mean? If it's gritty enough, it'll clean the pipes too. Now back to Valerie, who's worked herself up to such a pitch of excitement over her new toy that, like father at Christmas time, she's just got to peep. 3 minutes to wash and a little longer to dry, and all for a penny a day, once you've bought it.
The Dishmaster dishwasher even caught the attention of royalty, with Queen Elizabeth II viewing it at a show in England, and Dishmaster subsequently made an installation in Buckingham Palace. Arthur intended for his son Kerry to be involved in the family business.
Well, there was really never a question. It was always Dad's intention that I would be involved in the business, and I guess as soon as I was strong enough to help lift a machine at school holidays, I was either helping with deliveries, helping in the warehouse, working in the spare parts. So by the time I'd left school at 16, I really knew a lot about the business. I loved the advertising side of it. Dad taught that to me, and that became a big part of my responsibility, writing the ads. I had an idea, because we were selling waste disposers, but a lot of people wanted them installed, and it was a hassle. Put a lot of people off. So I dreamt up this ad, $99 installed. And the following Monday, there it was in the Herald, and it just went ballistic. Just ballistic. And that ad worked for years.
In due course, the company looked to expand its product line and turned its attention to extraction systems. Dishmaster agreed to market copper hoods for a small Auckland manufacturer. Because this company was unable to keep up with the initial demand, Kerry and his brother-in-law designed a hood that would become Dishmaster's own brand.
We went to a coppersmith who we found, and we designed a hood of our own. And we ended up assembling it with an electrician in our lounge, wiring it up and putting it up on the wall over our cooker at home, and we had a kettle going flat out and we had hots, and this thing worked a treat. So we made one to replace one that we'd sold, and the lady was thrilled to bits with it. And she wanted one for a friend, saying, could we make one for a friend? So that's where Classique started. The first year we made 1,000 hoods. We rented a little factory in Onehunga, way down a long alley, and it was a dump, but we had 3 or 4 people putting hoods together, and then we started to get inquiries from like Farmers Trading and some people, other dealers around the country that had people that seen the product at the show, gone into their local appliance store and said, look, I've seen one of those Classique hoods, can you get me one? So away it went from there. Once we started to get into hoods, the cooking went hand in glove. So we started to get into the upmarket cooking equipment, and rapidly became, as I understand it, we were number 3 in New Zealand for cooking equipment. just behind Farmers and Bond, who had multiple stores. We had one store. We changed from specifically Dishmaster, Wastemaster to dishwashers, waste disposers, cooking, a little bit of laundry. We got into heating for a while. It was quite a major change, and we changed the name from Dishmaster to Hood Centre, which turned out to be a little bit specific. But the Hood Centre, I believe, particularly in Parnell, when we had our Parnell store, it became, I believe it had a very good name. It was upmarket. We had excellent salespeople, very skilled and had great knowledge of the product.
Much of Hood Centre's success can be directly attributed to Arthur's training, drumming in the AIDA marketing method. Every appliance was installed in a beautiful kitchen setting so it could be seen working, and staff members were encouraged to demonstrate these appliances. In 1980, Hood Centre developed a Classique downdraft extractor system that could be bench mounted beside a standard cooker or cooking hob.
It became very obvious to me that people who had just a conventional upright stove or wanted just a normal cooking hob, found the downdraft system, they felt that it could really work for them. It's unobtrusive. I'd been to the Gen Air factory in the States and had a look how it all worked, and came back, and we had a very good sheet metal worker in our own factory, and a very clever guy. And I drew up what I wanted, what I felt could work. So we got a motor that we thought could do the trick, and we developed a sample or a prototype. We spent hours and hours cooking sausages and steak and all sorts of, we stunk the factory out testing this thing. And it worked well, and we put it on the market, and it sold very well. One of the other products that worked a wonder for us was a tilter hood. The European market at that stage, after coming back from the show in Cologne, was very much into integrated appliances. We created a hood, and with the door coming forward, it created its own natural canopy. So it worked incredibly well. New Zealand Kitchen Association at that time had a competition for the best kitchen design, and as I understand it, every single, all but one, of the entries had a tilter hood in it. So we're pretty proud of that.
In 1984, Kerry Harvey and sales manager Alex Robbie decided to go to the Domotechnica trade fair in Cologne to look for cooking units that would fit Classique's downdraft system and a good cooker and dishwasher. They ended up securing the agencies for Smeg, Bosch and Domino gas cooktops. Back home, Kerry found the products were in hot demand, and the company capitalised on the belief that European appliances were superior to locally manufactured ones.
We were growing at a great rate of knots, and it became very apparent that to go forward we needed a huge cash injection, because the containers were coming in and we were struggling to pay for them. Even though we were profitable and growing, those two things consume enormous amounts of money. And one day I just had a phone call from Mark, who I knew Mark reasonably well, and he wanted a house full of appliances for his new home that he was building. Even though he was working for the opposition company, he didn't have access to the imported product. So I offered him a deal, which he was happy about, and he just passed a comment. He said, "Boy, you've got one of the greatest little businesses in New Zealand there." And I don't know to this day why I said it, but I said, "Mark, if you think it's that good, why don't you buy it?" It was just totally off the top of my head. And he said, "Oh, you wouldn't sell that, it's too good." And I said, "Try me." And within 2 weeks we were in serious negotiation to buy the business, and as I say, the rest is history.